Hey friends, it's Just the Gems. I'm Brandon, and I'm worried about Trails in the Sky First Chapter. I hate to have to sit here and say this because I have been so excited for Trails in the Sky First Chapter, the remake coming this fall. Like, it's the game that I've wanted more than almost any other game. And the fact that not only is it real, but it's coming so soon, like, I just want to be excited. I just want to be happy. But there have been some troubling developments recently that have kind of robbed me of a lot of that excitement, and I want to talk about them today. Real quick, if you like the sort of stuff I do in this channel, would you consider liking and subscribing and all that good stuff? It just really helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it. Okay. On with the rant. Is it a rant? It's going to be a rant. Okay, so the thing that is upsetting me about Trails in the Sky First Chapter, if you haven't seen, there are some disturbing changes to the English canon of this series that Gung Ho appears to be making. Now, this is all being done in their efforts to provide a faithful translation of the Japanese text. It appears, based on the website that has been put up for Trails in the Sky First Chapter by Gung Ho, that they are pushing forward with this quote unquote more faithful localization. And some of the evidence of that is they are changing certain terminology that has been used throughout the rest of the series, right? Throughout the entirety of the series, there are some terms that have been used to reference certain characters, for example, that they are just changing because they know better, I guess. They think that they know better. I don't know. It feels very, well, actually, you know what I mean? Like just, I don't know. It's mansplaining and gross. I don't care for it. The first example, the first thing that caught my eye was the description for Cassius Bright on their website, right? So you'll see here that he was formerly known as the Sword Saint. That was a title that he was previously known by. If you've played any of the Trails games that exist today, you know that that is not what he has ever been called in English. He's been called a Divine Blade. Divine Blade was the localization choice that was made, and it was made because Sword Saint is not a thing in our language. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind, right? Sword Saint is kensei, right? It's a Japanese term. It is a term that's actually known in Japan. It's not something that they made up. A kensei is somebody, literally Sword Saint, is somebody who has achieved mastery of the sword. So in Japanese, it communicates beautifully to the Japanese player what it is that is being communicated. Sword Saint is not, guys, it's not a thing that we say. It's not a thing that we say, right? So we don't need to be strictly literal with Sword Saint. ReZero, the anime ReZero, also does this. They went with a literal translation for the Estrella family being the Sword Saints, whatever. But like, and here's the thing, right? If Xseed and NIS America had decided to translate that, to localize that as Sword Saint, fine, right? I mean, I don't think it's very good. Like, it's too basic. It's too, like, I don't know. It just feels very vanilla. It's not interesting. Divine Blade is such a good, evocative term, right? Like, that is just, it just feels so much cooler. And it means the same thing. Saint, divine, blade, sword. It's the same thing, but we're being more faithful to the Japanese by giving us not only an inferior term, but also ignoring the established canon that has been set up for the series over decades. So many people have put countless hours of work into this localization for this series, and Gung Ho is saying, actually, I know we're just getting here, but we know better than you all. And I think it's being done to appease this very small but very vocal portion of the Trails fandom. They are not the majority. The majority of fans don't care about any of that goofy political crap that these guys get so excited about. We just don't care about it. We just want to have good writing. We want the writing to be good, because what, don't we deserve good writing? Don't we deserve for it to sound like it was written in our language? Of course we do. That's the point of localization, right? If I want to experience something in Japanese, I will learn Japanese and I'll experience it in that language. Like, you have the ability, right? Like, you have the ability. It's easier now than ever in history to learn another language. I'm in the process of learning Japanese, right? Like, I could buckle down and in a couple of years, I could be well-versed enough to enjoy my favorite anime or video games in Japanese without much issue. So like you could do that too. If you're somebody that prefers the Japanese, you think there's something sacred about the original text and you need to have a literal translation of it, you can learn Japanese and you can experience it that way. The rest of us that are not like, the Trails fandom at large is not going to all go out and learn Japanese. They just want a game that's well written. And this strict adherence to these sort of imaginary tenets of translation, this literal faithful, I hate the word faithful too, because it's not. It's the opposite of faithful, right? They're not actually being faithful to the original script. You're brutalizing the original script by creating the impression that it was written poorly. Yeah, sorry, like that's what's happening when you do a literal translation. You're making it seem like the original writers didn't know what they were doing. There's other changes too. We know that Shara was known as the Silver Streak in the English localization. Now she's the Silver Flash. Silver Flash, the Ginsen, Silver Flash. Sen, coincidentally, using the same character, I believe, as Sen no Kiseki, which is Trails of Cold Steel, Trails of Flash, if you want to be literal. If you want to be faithful, right? If you want to be faithful, it's actually Trails of Flash. But yeah, so I mean, that's irritating too, right? Like she is known as the Silver Streak in 12 games, 13 games, I don't know. And then this one game, she's going to be the Silver Flash, I guess, because it's more faithful to the Japanese. Don't come into my house and rearrange the furniture, right? Like there has been a canon established. There has been a Western canon. And I know that's hard for people that are like white knights for Japan for whatever reason. Very like literally white. They're usually white guys. They're white knights for Japan. Like, oh, we need to defend it. No, they're fine. Like they're enjoying their media. When they bring it over here to the West, let us enjoy it how we want to as well, right? Like there's no reason to cater to this tiny sliver of the audience because they're so loud. I know they seem bigger than they are, but they're very small. You don't need to cater to that tiny audience. I need to take a breath. I had a whole outline and I was going to go over this carefully and with a great deal of thought, but talking about it got me riled up and I need to take a second. Center. Okay. Now, if you are familiar with Trails lore, like the development of Trails and how it's come about, how it's been brought over here to the West, you'll probably know that Xseed handled the original localization for Trails in the Sky, right? And one of the things that I think people were drawn to about Trails in the Sky was the localization. It was such an interesting and funny and witty localization that it really, really just drew people in, right? Like it was exciting, it was funny, it was intense and dramatic. It felt like it was written in English originally, right? Like it didn't feel like a translation. It just felt so good and so natural. Now, the series has been more or less established here in the West, so maybe we don't need super charming dialogue to bring people in. There's already an audience here that is going to get this game. I have it pre-ordered, of course I do, right? But that doesn't excuse the mishandling of this extremely beloved property, right? It doesn't excuse that. I know that I am fairly particular about localization and how I think it should be handled, just as the people on the other side of the argument are. I don't know. The series is so important to me on a personal level that seeing it handled this way is frustrating. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you haven't even played the game yet. It's not out. Let's give it a chance. I will give it a chance. But the concerning thing is, at this point in the process, when the game isn't even out, I shouldn't have any concerns. I should know nothing, right? Like, except for the little bits of dialogue maybe you see in a trailer. I shouldn't have any knowledge of this stuff. The fact that they've advertised this, that they've put this on their website with blatantly incorrect, as far as the Western canon is concerned, blatantly incorrect information on there because they've retranslated it, it's disheartening and it's frustrating. Now, I'm hoping that there will be something of an outcry from the fans, and they will hear that and realize that there are so many more of us than there are of the people they were trying to appease, and they'll patch in some corrections and make this right. Honestly, like, if we can talk about it now, maybe they can fix it before it comes out. There's no reason it needs to launch with these weird, goofy changes made to the script. The other thing that I know people have talked about as being a concern with this quote unquote more faithful localization is like the character of Estelle. Like, she is so charming and funny and goofy. And from what I understand, a lot of that characterization was, if not added, then at least emphasized in the localization, right? The way she speaks in English is maybe a little more stylized and nuanced and interesting than it was in Japan. I can't say this with any kind of real authority. This is just what I've heard, right? So yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that, well, you know, they're being more accurate to the original intention of the original creators for this character. They didn't want her to be as goofy or as charming or as funny or whatever as she is in the English version. The issue that I take with that is, again, the established canon. If Estelle only appeared in the Trails in the Sky arc, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But Estelle is a recurring character throughout the entire series, and her personality mirrors that of her original presentation in Trails in the Sky. So making changes to her in Trails in the Sky creates a sort of paradox with her presentation in the rest of the series. If she does not have that same personality that we have come to know, she is going to feel like a different person, and it's not going to fit, right? Like, we're creating a jigsaw puzzle out of the series, and Gung Ho is chiseling away at their pieces and trying to make them fit. They're not going to fit because everything here has been established in the West. This is what the series has been. And this is the frustrating thing to me. You know, I remember back when Xseed lost the translation, or I don't know if they lost it, if there was a fight over it, or if they didn't want to do it anymore. I'm not sure the story. But when NIS America took over, I was initially nervous, right? I was initially nervous about it because I so valued the work that Xseed had done on Trails in the Sky. However, I found out pretty quickly that they were bringing on consultants who had worked at Xseed, who worked on the Trails series, who were the Trails superfans, the keeper of the Western lore and knowledge of the series. They brought them on as consultants to make sure that they got it right. They cared about the established continuity, and there were only a few games released in the West at that point. There are like 12 or 13 games released over here now, and Gung Ho is coming in and saying, we don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Who cares about that? Like, we're going to do it faithfully to the Japanese. That feels so, I don't know, brazen and like, it's just very off-putting to me. Like I said at the beginning, it's like well, actually, you did it wrong, so I'm going to fix it for you. It's terrible. I hate it. I hate it so much. I've seen similar things actually in anime series, like when an anime, it's like a season of an anime is dubbed or whatever, subtitled by one company, and then another company takes over for the next season or a movie. I've seen terminology changed for the English adaptation, and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, there's a canon that's been established. You're going to come in because you think you know better and make changes to it. Like, don't do that. It's extremely off-putting. Now, you know, I don't have an existing relationship with Gung Ho. I don't want to like burn a bridge with them. I'm not trying to say that they're the worst people in the world. I'm just very upset by what I see they're doing. There's still plenty of time for them to course correct. They can fix this. They can make this better. I don't know whether they will. I don't know how much they're paying attention to the fan community, how much, you know, I don't know how many other people are going to rise up with me and say, hey, you know, we want to make our voices heard. We don't want you to mess with the established canon. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments, because I want to know, I just want to get a sense, honestly, for how many of us there are. I would like to believe that there are a bunch of people that legitimately care about this as much as I do, but I just don't know. I know that the majority of people don't care about the literal the faithful blah 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 translation stuff. Like, that's a very small subset of the white knights for Japan or whatever. They're not important. Like, they're insignificant in terms of their numbers. I know the vast majority of people just want a good game that sounds good and has a good script. Like, that's what most people want. But I'm curious as to how many people are as passionate about this as I clearly am, because I've been rambling for a long time right now. And also, I'd like to propose a solution to this problem, because it is a problem. Like, it keeps coming up and people get mad and get into flame wars online about it. It is a problem. I would propose companies start providing two localizations of every game they bring over from Japan. One can be that quote unquote faithful, you know, raw, rough translation that small subset of people enjoys so much, right? And the other can be the fully localized, polished, edited piece of work that sounds like it was written in English originally by a native English speaker, right? I think having these two localizations would solve so many problems. Like, the editorial team will start with a raw translation of the script, and then they'll write it well. They'll write it in English, and they'll polish and they'll make it sound good to our English speaking ears, right? English speaking ears, you know what I mean? So you already have that raw translation. Just drop that file in the game too and make it selectable. I feel like that would solve a lot of problems, right? You can have the Japanese voiceover, which they also tend to like, I think, and the English text that is, edited to be, or not edited really, like they're the specific raw rough translation, the raw rough translation for them to enjoy. I feel like that would solve a lot of problems. I don't know. Anyway, I've gotten myself all worked up into a tizzy. I'm in a tizzy right now. I'm tizzied. And I just feel like I'm overheated. Like I'm just getting so about it. I'm going to take the rest of the day off and maybe I'll have a beer or something. I don't know. I need to chill out. Thanks for watching. I hope that you got some enjoyment out of this wild rant from a crazy middle-aged man. If you did, leave me a like, appreciate it. And again, if you wouldn't mind commenting below your thoughts on it. If I've offended you, let me have it as well down in the comments, take me to task. I'm fine with that. I expect it, right? This is the internet. We exchange ideas and we do so sometimes kindly, but often angrily and with a great deal of rage. So I accept it. Send your slings and arrows my way. That's fine. And if you agree with me, I'd love to hear that too, just so I don't feel so alone and crazy. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye.